Alrighty everybody, it's been requested a bunch of times and I'm finally doing it. Let's do a shop tour and see what's up. The last couple months, Tommy and I have been doing a bunch of upgrades to this place. Time for an overview. Let's go. So first up is the new cutting station. If you don't know, when you buy metal, it generally comes in 20 or 24 foot lengths. And with my old cutting station, which used to be over here, we had 12 feet of room on one side and then a bunch on the other side, but nothing to support the metal. Now I build every work surface in my shop to the same height, 31 and a half, can't remember, but it's a very comfortable height to work at for most tools. These tables I built like 4 years ago, and there's 3 of them, and as you see, they're the same height as the cutting station. We used to drag one of these over here every time we needed to cut something. The cutting station's way better. Alright, so now with this cutting station, on this side of the blade I have about 14-15 feet, but on this side of the blade, all the way down to that locker down there, is just a couple inches over 25 feet. Future plans include extending this onto that side of this walkway so that we will have support all the way across. Now one thing that I did to this cutting station that I love, I had it on my last one but I improved it here, is I routed in a channel about 1/8 of an inch deep and put down these peel and stick tape measures that are indexed off either side of the blade on this cold cut carbide saw, so that you just put your piece down, bring the end of it to where you want, and start cutting. Now one thing that I do with just about every workbench that I mount to a wall is I use angled legs, so there's nothing to kick your foot on. These are, what is this, 1 by 2 inch rectangular tube by like 11 gauge wall. These horizontals are 1/4 inch thick, 3 inch by 1.5 inch C-channel, and then I have an 1.5 inch square tube frame on the top, and then on top of that, a 3/4 inch piece of MDF that I put about 4 coats of paste wax on, so metal chips don't stick to it, metal slides around on it easily. It's a pretty good solution in my book. So another big upgrade that I'm really enjoying is this enclosed room here. If you've been watching for a while, you know I used to just have shelving back here, and it just had crap on it. This is now super organized. It's secure, it's got an alarm system installed, it's got cameras, it's got everything I could want, so I know my tools are safe, I know my equipment's not going to be messed with when I'm not here, and I can find everything I need to, you know, like that. Another nice benefit of this room that I've built is I have this entire wall here to display samples of the signs I build. Lately when I've been building something, I've built 2 of them, so that I can put one on the wall. If you remember the Good of the Land sign I made for Justin a couple months ago, there's the second one right here. Got a couple others that I've just made as we went along. Just recently did that Linwood video, and in that you'll remember me complaining about making a W backwards. Well, we didn't realize that until it had already pretty much been finished, so it's on the wall as a display piece so we can show people how these work. Simple cutouts, more simple lighted signs. Good to have. One thing that I have added to the shop, I'm considering making available to other people if you're interested, let me know in the comments, are these wall-mounted battery holders. I've got a design for basically every major tool brand, and they do actually interlock with the battery, so you snap the battery on, you cannot get it off, you're gonna have to break it off to get it off, but they just pop right off. When you take them off the charger wall over here, you put them on the battery mounts, and when you need a new battery, they're on the mounts. Makes life easy. Alright. Yep. Now what about my welding setup? This is my table. I generally have this thing lifted up about 6 inches from where it is, but I was working on some projects that were pretty heavy and we were having to take them on and off the table a lot. So we lowered it down. Fortunately we have a forklift, so it's real easy to just lift this up and put the spacers that I have back in there. My tabletop is a 4 foot by 8 foot piece of 3/4 inch hot rolled steel. There's about a 1/16 of an inch bow in the middle of this table, and that's it, which is close enough for everything I'm doing. Equipment wise, right now I'm working off the HTP Pro Pulse 200. It's an awesome machine, it does pulse, you can weld pretty much every material you could want to weld with it. And actually, for the first time in quite a while, HTP has these in stock. They sold out last time they did a big production run, but they're back now. I just found out about that a couple days ago. Go check them out. There's going to be links in the description. I love this machine. And my favorite upgrade, 12-foot gun. So instead of having my welder on a cart that I've got to roll around and there's cords, I can just have it sitting there, or I can even move it to the floor or pull my cart back out if I need the whole table. But I can work all the way around the table with this gun. I love it. And while I'm at it, treat your guns well. Jimbo over at Jimbo's Garage makes these magnetic torch holders. He makes plasma torch holders, MIG gun holders, stick holders, TIG, torch. There's like 5 of them. Stick to the table with a pretty strong magnet, and you stick your gun in there. I've got one on either end of the table. That's actually the plasma torch holder, but works for a MIG gun too. It's just a little bit of a sloppier fit. That has saved my gun from getting beat up. Now, going along with the whole not wanting a welding cart in the way, I don't like anything on my floors that I can trip on or have to kick out of the way. I use cordless grinders for that reason. Whenever I can, I use cordless tools. And when I can't, I have some of these drop-down extension cords. I've got 3 of them throughout the shop. I also have a retractable air reel for my air tools. And my welder, power cord, and gas line both run up over this beam here. And then back and back down. The power line goes through the wall, and the gas line goes to my bottles over here. It's great. There's, you know, if I've got to drag something around or if I've got something on wheels, nothing on the floor to get in my way. Okay, now moving out of the welding area and into the plasma cutting area. That's this here. We've got a computer that runs the whole setup. The plasma table's over here. About, it was February, I believe. We added this water table, which has just vastly increased the quality of the cuts we're putting out. It's also cut down on 90–95% of the dust that was generated by the machine. I'm loving that. All right, so it's a little bit of a tight fit down here, so bear with me. In order to run a plasma table, you need a plasma cutter. This is the Microcut 875 SC from HTP. They were generous enough to send this out. Thank you, HTP. Brand new plasma cutter, let's play with it. To run a plasma cutter, you know you need an air supply. In the best situation, you're gonna have dry, cool air. And that's what I've got down here. It's an Ingersoll Rand unit, model number on the screen here. And supplying air to the whole system, including my tools in the other room, is this Ingersoll Rand 2475, 80 gallon, 7.5 horsepower, 2-stage air compressor. And man, what an upgrade. These 2 Ingersoll Rand pieces of equipment were supplied by one of their local distributors, Air Systems and Pump Solutions, and we're actually going to be building a sign for their new building once they've completed it, coming up here pretty shortly. And just for comparison's sake, over there on the right is the 1.5 power Husky compressor that I used for about 5 years. Now, to manage all that air, I set up a big manifold system right here. We've got the air compressor, comes in over here, runs through a filter, and then we have a bypass set up to go through the air chiller, or not if we don't need to. And then it comes out here and splits out to all the different lines that go everywhere else. As far as power, fortunately, breaker box is right here. I had open breakers and plenty of capacity. So we've got dedicated plugs for every device. When I first started here, we had to unplug and plug things in when you needed to use stuff, so that's all been fixed. So in most plasma cutters that you're gonna pick up nowadays that are set up for CNC, they use a 14-pin connection on the back to let the computer switch the plasma cutter on and off, as well as read back voltage and whatnot for height control. The old plasma cutter and the system this table is set up for didn't have any of that built in. I do not have a torch height controller, I just have a very, very level bed. So this box here is that old system, and trying to make that talk to the new plasma cutter was a bit of work. So through a friend of a friend, I got connected with George over at Delusional Designs, and he answered the questions I had about how these need to be hooked up. I looked that up and I said, all right, I'm gonna get it ordered. And he said, don't worry about ordering it, man, I'll send you one. He's got all the equipment to build the cables. You need special crimpers, and I don't. So I was happy to take him up on that offer. What I was not expecting was for him to overnight it to me. Awesome move, George. Thank you. Got me up and running within 36 hours of being on the phone with him. So moving over from the welding and cutting area to the plasma table, we now have metal storage. This is all actually going to get redesigned a little bit. It's kind of the last stage of our upgrade that I want to do. Instead of having a metal rack, we're going to build a material elevator right here. So as it stands right now, the metal rack is some, I think it's 1/4 inch wall, 1.5 inch tubing, runs vertically and forms a big L on the ground. Those are bolted down to the concrete. And then I've got 3 arms that stick out and hold material. A lot of people looked at this and said, that's not going to work. I beg to differ. I've had as much as 2,800 pounds of steel on these 3 arms. It does flex a little bit, but it does hold. So I get asked quite a bit, what else is in this building? Well, the plasma table is directly behind the camera. Off to camera's right is a paint booth. Back here is a cabinetry shop. And over here is an upholstery shop. And we often work all together on a number of projects. It's great to have just a diverse set of disciplines in the building. All right, we're pretty well back to where we started now. This is where I spent a lot of my time in the welding area. Let's see what else we've got going on. There is one. We've had a major upgrade here. Done went and caught me a wife. Come here, camera lady. Oh, ain't she pretty? So, Miss Maker, new Miss Day. Heck yeah, a lot of fun. During the eclipse last year, I was kind of like, and then she was all, and now here we are. So, what are you gonna do? Let's go through some of the small little details around here that make the shop work great, some things that you might want to add to yours. She's not for sale. Yet. All right, so a big one in any shop is lighting. Unfortunately, in the building here, there are some things I can't change. It's not my building. There's these old fluorescents here that are forever burning out and blowing ballasts, and I'm done fixing them. So what we've done over the cutting station is added one of these, here you go, LED light bars. They're actually all over the shop now. I have a total of, I believe, 16 of them up. They're not hot, which is nice, they're warm. They run on straight AC, you don't need an LED driver or anything like that. You just plug them in. And they have little clips that you attach wherever you want them. And they just snap right into place. One thing I do like about them is they are bright, but they're not so bright that if you stare at one or accidentally look right at one, you won't get bubbles. There are some lights out there that are just a little too harsh for that. Other than the cutting station, I have 3 of them right here above my work area. They plug in and they have a switch. That switch connects to the first light, which then has a daisy chain piece, which goes to the second light and to the third. And the manufacturer says that you can daisy chain up to 4 of these. So in addition to the lights that are over the cutting and welding area, Tommy and I raised all the old fluorescents here above the plasma table and added those same LED lights. They're 4 feet long, and I have these ones set up in 4 banks of 2, and I love it. Another advantage to having raised all these lights is I can now bring the forklift in here and spin it around or load metal onto the table as needed without worrying about bumping these lights. So one of the best things about these LED strips is that you buy them in a pack of 8. They're about $65. It's a screaming good deal. I like these a lot. If I don't find something better when I build a shop, this is what all my lighting is going to be. Something that's great to have in the shop and Harbor Freight loves to give away in their coupons are magnetic strips like this. I've got about a dozen of them spread throughout. Just an easy way to store tools that I have to get to fairly often. And if you're doing a bunch of grinding, make yourself a grinding disc holder. Makes life simple. The manager of my local Lowe's knew that there's no way I had the organization I needed and hooked me up with a very good deal on a pair of these Cobalt rolling tool chests. Something bigger would have been great, but unfortunately couldn't fit it around the corner into my room there. So a pair of them has worked out perfectly. We've painted them blue and red so that in nomenclature, I know that wrenches and stuff are in the blue one and cutting supplies and whatnot are in the red one, or vice versa. These things are great. I don't know what the exact capacity of them is, but it's a lot. They roll around in these 4.5 inch casters, and my floor here isn't perfect. They go around great. They make that corner into my room. Love it. Thank you, Lowe's. Thank you very much. As you guys will have noticed, I don't really have an objection to modifying a tool from its original use in order to make it do something that I needed to do in the shop. Here's a perfect example. I need a vertical bandsaw for doing small cuts. I had this portaband, which I hardly ever used as a portaband. So, with the addition of a toggle switch to hold down the power button, instead of using a pinch clamp like a lot of people, this thing just slides right into this vertical mount here. And it's basically just a friction fit. So, one thing that happens as you try to grow a YouTube channel is you get contacted by companies that want to send you product and get you to do a review on them. And with that, I've had 2 sent out, and not bad. We'll go through them. The first is this Tack laser distance measurer. I'm sure you guys have seen these before. It puts out a laser pointer, and you click the button, and it tells you that was 126 inches away. This is like most of the other models out there. You can adjust, you know, if it's telling you a decimal or fraction, inch or feet, meters, whatever. It has all the features you would expect from something. I've had some of these before and either lost them or broken them. But this has something I never even imagined being possible, yet it works. It has a little angle meter in it that knows the position of the device. And it actually has a tripod mount on the back. So if you want something real accurate, you can mount it to a tripod. You sit there and you take a measurement of something, and then you move it. And as long as you keep the device in the same position, when you change the angle and take a second measurement, it will tell you the distance between those 2 points based on, I guess, what would that be? Side, angle, side, geometry, or trig, back from middle school? And it's pretty accurate. You're not gonna get down to a 1/4 inch or something like that. But if I wanted to measure the wall down there, I could take 2 measurements, and bam, and it works. I don't know, I don't get stumped by products very often, but this is a cool device. They're available on Amazon. I think they run right about $40, which is less than I've paid for other ones that don't measure as far and don't have the angle thing in it. I use this quite a bit when I'm in a situation where it's not practical to run a tape measure up to something. Good tool. Oh, and one more thing it can do that I've never seen before in other similar devices is you can adjust where you're measuring from. You can measure from the back of the unit, the front of the unit, or where the tripod mount is. Little things make tools way better. Was not expecting this from a $40 device. Very impressed. Now along the same vein, Tack laser distance measure, awesome. These Vanon aftermarket Dewalt 20 volt batteries, they're not bad. For the price, I don't know. I would buy genuine. Some home gamers, maybe this is good enough for you. These come in a couple different capacities. This is a 4 amp hour and this is a 6. The construction's a little flimsy. The plastic's thinner, you know, they're saving money. That's all there is to it. I'm torn up here because they do work. You plug them in, they make your tools go. I don't know that I would use these in the shop, but drilling holes in your drywall at home, these will probably do the trick. I, of course, am going to recommend buying genuine Dewalt batteries. I just think it's worth paying the extra couple bucks for something that has a 3-year warranty. You can take to a Dewalt store and just go, this broke, and they go, here's a new one. These guys are going to live as the batteries that run the camera that you're looking at right now, because if you know me, if I can make it run on Dewalt batteries, it's gonna run on Dewalt batteries. By the way, you wanna get yourself a free rocket stove kit? Check the card out right here to see how they go together. If you have a broken 20 or 60 volt Dewalt tool that you don't want anymore, as long as the battery connector is still in good shape, you know, so if you burned out the motor or something like that, send it to me, I'll send you a rocket stove in return. Just get in touch with me and we'll arrange that. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna switch over to the phone so I can show you how the camera setup works. The mic right here is a, I think it's a Rode Micro in a shock mount. The camera is a Panasonic G something. It's gonna be on the screen. I've been a big fan of it. It's held up pretty well to, you know, my uses. It's sitting on a Sunpack Ultra 6000 PG tripod. I have 2 of them and I've been quite a fan. Now what I made up was this little adapter here. It clamps onto the tripod's neck. It's got a pretty ghetto hinge, but very durable. And then it's a little box that a Dewalt battery lives in. This will fit a 4 or 5 amp hour battery. And on top of that, I have the Dewalt USB power adapter, a genuine one. I highly recommend you avoid the cheap eBay ones. They are garbage and they put out static that'll mess up your radio or your microphones. Now this comes in here, plugs in, and attaches to the camera. So, these Vanon batteries have found their new home. There you go. I just recently picked up this circa 85, I think, radial arm saw. It's Dewalt, of course. And kind of thinking about either doing a full restoration or maybe a full modernization. This would look kind of good in yellow, don't you think? All right, so I think that's just about it for what's new in the shop. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. If you want to check out any of the products that I use and that I featured, those links are going to be down in the description, and of course that helps the channel out.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And I will see you on the next one. She might be there. Bye.
Oh, I have to have words?
Yeah, you have to have words.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yep, and I'll do we'll see next.
You can do that.